Welcome back to the Fast Performance Baseball Podcast. I'm your host, Cole Thomas, with my co-host,
Connor Reynolds.
Connor. You were just finishing up a special project that I guess we wanted to let the listeners in on. And what's been the special project you've been working on?
Yeah, man. So going through PBR's data.
Are we doing PBR Colorado or all of PBR?
I was just looking at PBR Colorado, not the professional bull riding prep baseball report. So they have a thing where you can become a member and just get access to their showcase data and stuff like that. So went through and was able to find the average exit velo, the average max exit velo, the max exit velo. Same for distance, hand speed, bat speed, rotational acceleration, and then the average of on-plane efficiency for seniors, juniors, sophomores, freshmen, 8th grade, and 7th grade of the year of 2022.
If you can't tell, he's put a lot of work into this.
I'm really excited, too, because I've been wanting to do this for a long time. I think when was it when we made the bet? Because I brought it up to Jason, and that's how we were able to do it. It was when the Broncos played the Chargers for the first time. And we were sitting there, and Jason goes, "Oh, the Chargers are going to lose." And I go, "No, sir. The Broncos will lose."
Oh, when we got the PBR membership.
And he's like, "No, like the Chargers are the worst." And I go, "No, the Broncos are the worst." So then I go, "You want to bet?" He goes, "Sure." I say, "Whoever loses has to buy the PBR membership."
Right.
Bada bing, bada boom. Broncos lose. Jason buys the membership for the facility. And that was back November or December time, I think. And so been a long time coming. Finally excited. I have all of the average for every single individual showcase, every single grade. And then I also was able to go through and do 2021 that year as well. So without further ado, just little things that kind of irritate me when I'm looking at this. Max exit velo for juniors in 2022. So that's the 2023 class. 99.8. Sophomores had a 104.6. So junior class, I think you guys need to try and step it up a little bit. Same thing on distance. I'm going to be putting out a whole blog about this, talking more about it. And honestly, for me, this was just really exciting to be able to just know this information. So that way I can compare what's the rest of the state like to my hitters, and are my hitters behind, are my hitters above the average, where is it at, and stuff like that. So for something for me, this is, and it's going to be a part of our assessment too, so that way I have all of the nationwide averages of numbers, but I haven't had Colorado numbers. So I'm really excited. Are you still interested in possibly looking to do this on the pitching side?
Something I'm definitely interested in that we could do better on evaluations in the future, like getting kids at certain age levels, whether they're freshmen, sophomores, seniors, juniors, just here's where you stack up amongst the averages. Here's where the max guys are. That way I think guys can get a baseline of here's where you stand,
right,
in the grand scheme of all of this, right? So I think many kids don't really understand where they are when it comes to velocity. I don't think guys understand where they are when it comes to weight, where it comes to size and speed and strength. And I think there are some tools that we can use utilizing PBR and the system that they use, as much as there are things I feel that they overvalue. Yep. And then things they undervalue. I'm it's a good snapshot into, hey, athlete A, you come in for an eval, you do this, here's what all your pitch types are, here's where you lack, and here's where you excel. And we need to find a way to strengthen the places you excel and then start building up the places that you don't excel, and we need to find a way to get you there as quickly as possible.
One of the things that they value so damn much is hand speed.
Yeah.
Which there's a certain point where it's okay, that's nice. But one kid had I think the average is 22 or 24, 20 for high school.
Now, as a pitching guy, and I have a general understanding, but how important is hand speed to hitting?
So that's one of those. So I'm looking at it right now.
Just from as an outside observer, where I have a general idea, but how in depth, how really important is it?
In the grand scheme of things, bat speed is king. It rules all.
Right.
Because you could have really fast hands, but if you're not swinging in a a way where the bat acts as a whip. If your hands just lead the whole time, you could have hand speed. Like I'm looking at it right now, 8th grader had 30.7 miles an hour hand speed, whereas senior, the max was 25.2. So what that's telling me is that this 8th grader is just very handsy, very dominant, using a lighter bat. And they're probably not rotating as well. And so if you have,
so I'm just always, and just one of those like where, maybe correlation isn't causation, but I'm like, what it would stem to reason. I'm like, okay, well, if you got a good hand speed, you would have therefore decent bat speed. But obviously, you're saying that's not the case,
yeah, because the swing, like the throw, I think is a lot like a whip.
right?
And so the hands are only like needed to a certain point. So if my hands, when I'm swinging, if they lead everything and they're really fast, my barrel's only going to go the same speed as my hands. Because if my barrel's behind my hands, my bat's not going to go faster than my hands. And so that's where we need to get more of a like hinge point to allow for the hands to act as a hinge point to allow the bat's momentum to like whip out just like a whip. And so, and like showing this, the average hand or the max hand speed goes down the older kids get. And I think that's because they get more into where you want the bat speed to be there. You don't necessarily need the hand speed.
Okay.
If that makes any sense.
Right. So what are we learning, you taking the data that you've accumulated and saying like what are things that are standing out to you? What are the things that I guess you find the most interesting?
I think one of the things I noticed is generally senior numbers are down, and I think the correlation of that is if you're a senior, if you're already committed or you're signed, you're not going to be going to PBR showcases. So right now I'm finding that the junior, sophomore, and freshman, those are like the more predominant, I think, showcase more of what the actual class is like. And so looking at senior numbers, like right now, average exit velo is like 81. Bat speed was 69.5. Like, I don't think the big fish in the pond, if you're a senior, are still going to these kind of showcases. And then the reverse of that, I think the 7th and 8th grade does not dictate what most 7th and 8th graders are like. So I'm looking at this right now. An 8th grader in the year of 2022 hit a ball 95.7 miles an hour on TrackMan.
Right.
I don't think that represents most 8th graders. And so I think the really good 7th and 8th graders are the ones that are going to be going to these kinds of showcases. And so you have like the cream of the crop that are quote unquote representing their entire class. Same thing with these seniors. If you're a senior, you're committed, you're most likely not going to keep paying money to go to these PBR showcases. So the ones that are needing to go are the ones that are unsigned. No offense to the unsigned seniors. Predominantly, if you're signed before your senior year, you're pretty good. If you're not signed by your senior year,
the only reason you would be going to these as a senior is you're trying to up your stock, maybe, or you're trying to, like, if you're already signed, but you maybe go to these things to be like, all right, maybe there's a chance for me to get drafted in this. But yeah, like you're saying, like the cream of the crop is not necessarily going to these.
Yeah. So, and that's where like juniors
Or at
numbers.
least that's what you believe, at least.
Yeah. Well, and I'm looking at it like numbers wise, juniors and sophomores, hundreds of athletes I have for data wise. Senior class is not that many. Same thing with 7th and 8th grade. There's not that many, but the ones that are going are really freaking good. And like seniors, the hardest hit ball for a senior in this 2022 year was 101.6. Like I said, sophomore hit 104.6. And
Right.
I know for a fact that there's probably 5 seniors that could hit it over 101.6. They just probably didn't go to the showcase, probably because they didn't need to. So it's interesting. It's something that I'm going to keep sifting through. I want to go through and find 2022, 21, 20.
Go back through the years.
Yep. And so that way I can actually track the classes, because I guarantee you, here, let me look at the 2021 and let's see what yeah. So looking at this 2020, in the year of 2021, the 2022 grad class were juniors. The top exit velo was 105.1.
Right. So that kid definitely probably did not go back.
Exactly. And so like, and I think that's a common thing. And so I'm going to have to go through every single year,
It's
find the
gonna be one
trends.
you got to find the trend and just be like, here's where like this actual senior class is,
And like,
because
where's the drop off?
based on like who the kids have been like, what, like say like, I'm looking at PBR's site and let's go like the number one kid right now. Won't name him at all, but he's an Arkansas commit. Like, when was the last time he went to a showcase? So he was a Future Games participant, whatever that means, and
He's part of the Futures game.
he's part of the Futures game. Just played some tournament in Vegas, I guess. And then, but like the last time, so he went that. I mean, that's obviously an invitation only type of thing. Where like I'm assuming PBR, who I think it was Mike at the time was running it. Just like, hey, you want to come to this thing? You're invited to come play in these games. Like your PBR Colorado
representative,
team Colorado, whatever. So he goes to that in July of 21. And I don't know, like, what was if that was like an actual, like they just played games, or was there like an actual showcase?
I think it was a PBR tournament.
Yeah, like
where they just brought in like PBR Colorado. PBR
yeah, they're just playing
California.
They're just playing a bunch of games.
Yeah,
right. But like the last time he goes to a actual showcase, like he was in the 21 Futures game. Good for you. And I guess there was a workout thing. So there was a Futures game showcase.
Okay.
And that was on August 1st, where he put in some hitting numbers. But I mean, it's one of those things like unless you're invited to go, like there's no reason for you to go.
And like I remember going through when I was a freshman, I think PBR just came to Colorado.
Right.
It was a thing in the Midwest. But the dude that ran PBR prior, corrupt
and I should say that he went to the Future Games in 21. So this is 2-year-old information.
Yeah.
Or a year and a half old information. So conceivably for this kid, he's bigger, he's stronger. I mean, he's listed on here as 6'2", 180. I'm like, I mean, he is a shortstop, but I mean, like, imagine he's a little bit bigger than that. Like, it's like exact, but it's the same thing as MLB weight charts. Right,
yeah.
you go look at anybody in their weight chart.
Well, I mean,
that's probably when they first entered the league, that's how much they weighed.
Even if you go look at my PBR thing right now, I think I listed myself as 6'3" when I'm wearing cleats, and I wrote down like 195, and I was like 185 at the time, or 190.
Right,
like you can write whatever the fuck you want.
The easiest example of that is Bartolo. On Baseball Reference, he is listed as 285. I'm like, there is no way he's been 285.
No, that's a large man.
He is much larger than 285 would indicate.
Well, and like bringing it back to the PBR side of things, like, I mean, I remember when they were first going through, and like we would just get like, because they were just starting up or whatever. Like, I don't think and I could be wrong, because obviously I wasn't the one putting in the credit card information, but like I remember getting like codes from the PBR dude to like sign up and go to showcases and stuff. So like, I don't know. I think it's one of those where it's like, I don't think they're doing that anymore. So you're not having the cream of the crop coming out when they don't have to. It's almost like the college. I mean,
that's something we would have
Pro Bowl games.
That's something we'd have to talk about maybe with the PBR guys. I'm like, how much do you like emphasize the top guys coming to these shows? I mean, because that's one of the things you see those pro days that they do, or what they call the scout days of these. I'm like, you see the kids. I'm like, really, that's all that team's got.
Yeah.
But then I'll know kids that go to that school and they'll say like, okay, well, we didn't have this guy didn't do it. This guy didn't. These were like kids who were unsigned. A lot of them were mostly freshmen and sophomores. A lot of them were, they're either like I think it was Cherokee Trail. I want to say we have a couple of few Cherokee Trail guys that come in, and they didn't have anybody that like really stood out, at least that they posted on social media. And I asked them like, where are you guys? They're like, yeah, all that was there was like freshmen, sophomores, and one uncommitted senior, and that was it.
Now, the one school that I did notice was Valor. Every time Valor did one, and Regis did one consistently, but Valor had all of the dudes. They
make sure everybody comes.
Yeah.
I mean,
so it was nice. It was nice to go through Valor's, because like I've had the 2022 class was the class that I coached, and I started off with a bunch of like Valor, Grandview. Like I was based out of like, Centennial area. So like I knew like all of the kids. And so it was like cool to see like their in-depth numbers and stuff
Right.
like that. And like, oh yeah, like so-and-so went there. So that was pretty cool.
Nice. So I mean, yeah. What are your other big your massive takeaways?
I was messaging my buddy. We've brought him up a lot on the potty in the last couple weeks. John, out in California,
JP, yeah. Or John, yeah,
with 2-5 baseball, and I just kept messaging. And I was like, dude, Colorado's so behind because like, just in his own facility, which he does have. He said that he has.
He's a guy we need to have on here.
Yeah, he's had 3 of the top exit velo leaders in the state in like 3 different age classes or grad years train with him.
Right.
So like he's got some dick swinging mother truckers in there. But I like sent it over to him and he was like, damn. Like those numbers are low.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, dude, like Colorado's just so behind on shit. It's just it's so frustrating to see like other places and have like I remember. Do you remember when PBR started putting out their state?
Have you done a comparison between Colorado and the rest of the nation yet?
Not yet. Okay. That's what's cooking up. That's what's brewing. That's on the back burner.
Like
right
where?
now.
Like I'm just be interested. Like where? Like on the averages, of course. But like where would we rank nationally?
I would really like to do that, and that was something. Do you remember when PBR was putting out their exit velo like leaderboards for the classes a couple months ago? And I was just like pissed off because like Utah had better numbers than us.
Right.
Oh, dude, I was just walking around the facility pissed.
Yeah, you were mad.
I was like, "What the fuck, Colorado?"
But like remember, but I think you can have that context in there. It's like what kids went to that showcase.
Yeah,
right?
I know, but still,
like are those the kids that are the cream of the crop, or are those the kids that are like middle of the road?
And like that would, if I was like, I mean, if I was a signed senior, like I went to 2 of these PBR shows, and again, like it was, I think,
like it's like I say, I'm like, if you're a signed senior, you don't need to go to those.
But I don't know, maybe this is like the cockiness in me, or like I was a cocky, just very confident senior dude. I would want to go to that shit just so I could have my name on the leaderboard. Like, I'd just be like, oh hey, by the way, I'm the.
But this is an argument. We'll kind of close on this because I feel we're kind of diverging a little bit, but it's what something I try to tell. I'm interested in telling guys is like if you're a signed senior, right? How many kids do you think? You know, if I were to tell them like if you're signed, why are you playing your club baseball season before you leave? Right.
Dude,
in the summer.
Oh, that
like the only it's the same thing. It's like why would you? I know
that's not how you end the segment.
I know, but like why would you go play summer ball? Like and I'll get him like people will come at me in the comments and go like, well, it's fun. I'm like, okay, that's cool.
It's stupid.
It's but if you're gonna play summer ball, like sure, if you're gonna have fun, dick around, go for it. Go for it. But like the only reason you're playing summer ball if you're a senior is because you haven't signed. At least to me, in my opinion, is you should be playing that if you haven't signed or you're not committed anywhere. But if you're committed and you're signed, you got that letter of intent locked away on the fax machine, or if anybody still uses fax machines. But if you're signed and you're committed, why don't you just go train and then go be a better player than they've recruited you to be, right? Then they come walk in like, oh, here's John B. We recruited him as a 6 foot or a 6'2", 180-pound player. He's a pitcher. He's got some good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You come in on that first day in the fall, and now you're 200, 210. You added 5 miles an hour from what they already recruited you to be, and they're like, oh, shit.
And, like, for me...
And then you can potentially be on the starting roster day 1 of the season.
100%. And like when I coached, so I mentioned it, like I coached a 2022 team from freshman all the way until their senior fall. That summer going in, from day 1, I told them I am not having a senior summer team.
No.
Like no shot. And here's why. The route that you just mentioned. 2, if like you need to go into a college league. Like you must.
If you're gonna play, you should play in a college league. You shouldn't be playing high school.
Because like here's the thing, and especially here in Colorado, you're playing 18U if you're not playing on a college summer team.
Right.
Well, I remember playing 18U as a freshman. I remember in high school, I remember playing 18U as a sophomore. I remember playing 18U as a junior. So are you truly facing 18U competition? No, you're facing all the high school teams that have to call up their underclassmen and bring them up to 18U to play on their varsity summer team or whatever. You're playing the really good underclassmen at these travel teams that they have. Like, you're not actually playing 18U, and so you're going to go through. You're going to get this false sense of confidence because you've just been beating up on freaking freshmen, sophomores, and juniors all summer, and then you walk onto campus and it is a whole different ball game, and you have the best thing that I ever did was play in a college summer league, the Mile High Collegiate League, going into my freshman year of college.
Right.
Because I was able to get the suckiness, or at least most of the suckiness, the shell shock of, wow, that's what like 93 with cut looks like. Wow, that's what a grown man with a mortgage and a full beard with a kid in the stands, that's what that looks like. Oh, you're 6'5", 230 pounds left-hander that's just going to absolutely hit nukes. Oh, I've never seen that when I'm playing defense. Like, I don't know what that ball looks like off the bat. Like, being able to like learn those things during the summer, so that way when I did go into the fall, it made everything just so much better.
And that's the one thing I think most kids going into college, they don't realize in that transition period. It's a whole different.
Big.
It's a whole. I mean, think here in Colorado, it's a whole different ball game. Like, say, like the Centennial League. Let's just go the Cherry Creeks, the Grandviews, the Mullins, it's one thing to see like Trevor Moore, the Mullen kid, the kid that's going to Stanford or is at Stanford now. Like, but when you start seeing guys more like that consistently, it's a whole different ball game.
And it's one of them is going to Stanford, the others possibly have been at Stanford.
Right.
And there's a big difference in that experience. And the thing that I've told all of my kids going through is that when there's going to be so many new things already happening that freshman fall, there's going to be new living situation. You're probably on your own for the first time. There's going to be new classes. There's going to be the new social side of things. There's going to be the new schedule structure. There's just so many new things that are happening. And to then also throw in the mix of you never have playing college baseball or never possibly even getting close to experience that.
Right.
Like, that's a lot of moving parts and a lot of shell shock. Like, if you can eliminate as many things as possible that's going to be a shell shock to you, do it. And one of those is playing college summer ball or training at a collegiate style facility that can then prepare you rather than just playing 18U.
Right.
Why I said, hey, you opened up a can of worms. That's tough to end on that. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. I knew that. I knew that was going to irk you, and so I thought I'd throw that in there. So yeah, interesting stuff. And I think we'll start doing something on the pitching side. Could go through that as well,
because I want to see what those numbers are, so that way I can do it for my Hitchhikes League too.
Your next thing is to just see where the hitting, at least on the hitting side, where it lines up at on a national level.
Yeah, I need to get through the rest of these grad years, and then I'm gonna go through and do the Colorado or the U.S. side, and then get a little comparisons.
Perfect. All right, moving on to the main segment. Connor, what did you were mentioning before we started? You were kind of irked by something that I think we would make a good main segment today.
Yeah, we're getting closer. We're recording today, January 31st. So we have 28, like 3 weeks.
We literally have a month.
Yeah, before our high school guys start going through tryouts and stuff. And I unfortunately right now have a couple of athletes that about a month ago I sat down and talked to in December and was like, hey, with where you're currently at, with what I'm seeing trend wise, if I was at your high school, if I was your high school coach, in my opinion, not knowing the other people, you're a possible bubble guy. Like, just looking at averages of, you're at a 5A school, there's 3,000 kids there. Like, I'm assuming you tell me that there's, 75 kids coming to these winter workouts. We're not in the most secure position. And I had that talk with maybe 4 or 5 guys, And right now I still have like 2, kind of 3 that have not really done anything different.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing's changed, nothing. I'm not saying that, hey, you need to come spend more money with me. I'm saying like, hey, track your calories that you're eating. I'm saying, hey, how often, like, what time are you going to bed? Like the little things that they can take care of and they can control, they're not. And so it's like, we're already not in a great position. You need to take every advantage, every little thing to make sure that there's not even a possibility that we get cut.
Right.
And I'm just not seeing it out of some of my guys. And for me, it's pretty frustrating because I know for a fact that if the bad thing does happen, if they do get cut, and I've already had the conversation, like just because you get cut doesn't mean shit. Like, wow, you're not going to play with your high school for 22 games.
Right.
Crazy. I already know that it's going to be one of those as, well, you didn't prepare me enough. And I'm just like trying to, I like to try and pre-plan or figure out, all right, what's the possible argument? Like, what are their topic? What are the main points that they're going to throw at me saying like, you didn't do this, you didn't do that. And I'm sitting here, I'm just like, I don't know what else I can do in the position that I'm in to get it more across that like, hey, we are not in a comfortable seat back, one hand on the plywood, driving down, the highway. We're not in a relaxed position right now. We need to be white knuckled, 2-hand, 10-2, focus on the road, like doing every little thing. And it's just not happening yet. And I've had some athletes in the past where they've gotten cut, and that's been the wake-up call because they do want to play college ball at the end of the day is what they tell me. And it's one of those where like, hey, you going down the trend that you've been doing is not a college ball player trend.
Mm-mm.
And sometimes this is the wake-up call that's like, oh, shit, like I want to play college ball, and I got cut as a sophomore, as a junior or a senior.
Right.
Like, oh. And maybe it is, maybe it's not. I don't know. But are you seeing anything like that?
On my side, not necessarily. There's a few kids I'm like, yeah, you're a bubble guy, or the way you kind of approach this game is not conducive to the goals that you have laid out for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But those are not. It's not the kids who I feel like are lazy. It's the kids who, and I mean, this goes into a little bit of a laziness thing, but it's the kids who kind of show up sporadically. Right, there are kids I see, once a week or once every 2 weeks, right? And I give the kids a lot of credit. Some of the kids, the ones who like can't drive themselves,
Yeah, like that. There's shit that comes up.
Like I have a kid who, sometimes it's a little difficult for him to show up because he lives down in Castle Rock, like I do, but he doesn't have a car like I do, or his own car where he can justify driving himself to and from, up and down to here and back. And I'm like, okay, I get that. But it's that, are you doing it? And I understand players will try to give you that argument. I'm like, oh, well, you didn't prepare me. I'm like, no, you didn't prepare yourself. Right? Like it's like what was the analogy? Have I even dropped this analogy on the show? The Yellow Brick Road analogy yet?
I think you have, yeah.
Yeah, my Yellow Brick Road is like, I can give you the Yellow Brick Road, but you've got to walk it. Right? I can't push you down the whole thing. Like, you're going to run, always know you're going to run into obstacles. But then, like, you should see me, you should see you, Connor, you should see Jason, you should see Joel, JC, Trevor, all the people that work here. We're kind of like your, I don't want to say like, we're the Scarecrow, the Tin Man, and the Lion. I don't want to say the Cowardly Lion, but like the Lion, like,
I'll be the Cowardly Lion.
Like, we will help you. We're going to help you through those obstacles, but you have to still do it at the end of the day, right? Dorothy didn't, get to Oz by just, I'm going to be at Oz, right? Like, I just here I am on the Yellow Brick Road, and now I'm just magically at Oz, right? She had to go walk that path. She had to go through those obstacles, right? The witch, the trees, the poppy fields.
Is this a bad time to admit I've never seen The Wizard of Oz?
Jesus Christ. How have you not seen that movie?
Dude, I hate old movies.
Oh my God.
Like a burning passion.
Why?
Because my dad would force me to watch like John Wayne movies when I was little.
Okay, John Wayne movies, I'll give you credit.
And so like, but just like seeing like that film style, like just takes me back.
You don't like spaghetti westerns. I get that. I'm not a big fan of spaghetti westerns either. No, there are some good old movies. I'll compile a list for you.
Bet.
Because I'm a big movie buff.
You're a movie buff, huh?
Yeah, I'm not that like into it, but like I love, like, if it's a good movie, I don't care if it's black or white or color.
Oh, I can't black and white. Oh,
I'll get you a list.
I hate them, dude.
I'll get you a list. You
Okay.
just trust me.
Even if it was a new movie just filmed in black and white, I would hate it.
Anyway, but like I said, like, I mean, but you still know the story.
Yeah,
you know the premise, regardless if you've seen it or not. One of the greatest movies ever made. But you know, people need to understand that we are not. I don't know how to phrase this. Is we are not. This is your career.
Mm-hmm.
Is the easiest way to look at this. It's your career. You need to take advantage of it to the best of your abilities, right? Because I'm gonna give you the road, but I'm not gonna force you to go down the road. That's your job, right? You're paying me to give you the road or put you on the road and put you on the path. Like, I know what's right for you, but you've got to be willing.
We'll put up the road signs.
Yeah, we'll put up the road signs like go this direction, go that direction. But this is where I feel like too many kids are sitting there just like, all right, just give me the answers.
Yep.
Give me the answers to the test. Like, there are no answers to the test. Like, there are themes and there are certain things that we can do that are going to put you into that space, but there are no solid answers.
Yeah.
Right. There's no one right way to do it, one wrong way to do it. It's not math. It's not science. It's not, anything that has solid answers. This is more like your political science and your literature. Like, there are a million ways to do it, but you got to find the way that works for you, but you got to be able to support that method of doing it as well.
Yeah, and I kind of almost like, I mean, I compare everything to video games, like,
right?
I mean, in NBA 2K, you can be a shooter, you can be a dribbler, you can be a driver. Like, there's a bunch of different ways to end up winning the game, but how you do it is different. There's different guns in Call of Duty. You could be a really good sniper, a really good shotgun player. There's Apex Legends, where there's different like modes or types of characters and stuff. Like, there's so many different ways that you can go about this thing. There are not always black and white of like, this is right, this is wrong. There's a lot of gray in that. And you have to fail. Like, you have to find out what you suck at to find out what you're good at. And I don't think a lot of kids understand that failure aspect of it, and understanding that that's how you find out what you're good at.
Right. Well, but it's what I said earlier is there's too many kids who want to just be like, give me the answers to the test.
Well,
and then I'm going to, like, I come work for you, and then all of a sudden I'm going to be in varsity.
They act like it's Chat GPT.
Right.
Where it's like, I just type in a question and boom, there's the full answer right there. And it's like, that's not how it goes. You have to trial, you have to err, you have to have the ups, you have to have the downs, you have to have all of that to then find out what your answer is. There's not just one answer. There's, Cole's answer, there's my answer, there's Jason's answer. All of us have different answers to the same question, essentially, of how do I become the best ball player I can be? And there's just so many different ways that is possible. But then I think there's more ways to I think there's more ways to fail than there are to succeed. But you have to find out what those failures are to find out what those successors are.
Right. So, getting back to what your original point was, is the guys who just don't really understand what it is that's, like, what you're saying is, like, we got to start clutching the steering wheel a little harder and being a little more laser focused, because just the way it's going for you right now is like you said, you're a bubble guy. There's no guarantee you're going to make the varsity, let alone make a team, right?
Yep.
And it's what, like, I think there's too many people who get very locked into the idea that I've been successful for so long, or I've been successful for growing up. But to understand, like, you've got to be constantly, consistently thinking, I need to be better than everybody else.
And then there's like, and I think the issue that happens is, one, you have travel ball. So,
Right.
so far until this point, if you've been quote unquote, if you haven't made a team, you've gone to 5 other tryouts that you can go to. And so it's not like you don't take that, oh no, you're like, we're not giving you, we're not offering you our top team, or we're not offering like, so it's like, oh, okay, I'll go to this organization, I'll go to this team, I'll do this. Like, that's not a thing when it comes to
Like
high school.
you're gonna find a million places to go play. You're gonna find a million places that'll like
Take
say,
your
like,
money.
exactly. We'll take your money and just say like, okay, yeah, you're one of the best guys. You're the best. Like if you just decide you're like, I'm the best kid on my team, then you've really narrowed your scope on like where you
That's a
stand in
small
this
pond,
game.
baby.
Like being the best being the best kid on your team of 18, 20 kids, versus the whole of how many kids play baseball in Colorado, let alone how many kids play baseball in the United States.
I think it's like
It's
12,000.
right. It's such a
Maybe more.
small percentage of that pie that you can't be just saying, and like, I'm the best player on my travel ball team and therefore I am fucking legit. Like
Yeah, I'm going to Vandy.
Exactly. I'm going to Vandy. Just because you're the best player on your team doesn't mean you're the best player, let alone in your high school program.
No. And did you have anything?
No.
Okay. The thing that I notice is that some of these bubble guys are like juniors, right? And so thinking in a high school coach's mindset, if you have a junior that has not played any varsity yet, and you have a junior that is possibly going to make your JV team, do you want to take up a slot for a kid that is a bubble JV guy to not call up the sophomore or not call up the freshman? Like, no, you're going to want to put your eggs in the basket of the person with quote unquote more potential or more time to add to their, ability. So bubble juniors get cut before bubble sophomores and freshmen do.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's the thing that some of the guys like don't understand is like, well, I made the team last year. I made the team before that. I'm average. Like I'm about, the lower end of the juniors in my class at my school. So I'm still going to play. Well, like, it's like you played sophomore C team last year. You're not you're not able to play JV, or maybe if you did, you're going to be a bench guy. But what high school is going to keep a bench junior on JV?
Right.
And I don't think they haven't gotten that yet.
It's guys who feel like I've always been on the team, or I've always made the program that.
Yep.
Like there's no like I made this team, I made that team, or I've been in the program for 3 years. Like does not necessarily mean that you're not cuttable in your senior year, right? Always remember, like if you're not playing much if you're a junior on JV and you're not playing much, there's definitely no fucking way you're gonna play on varsity.
And if you're a sophomore not playing much on C team or whatever, it like understand where you are at and what level you need to get to, and just being average year to year to year doesn't cut it.
Right. It's that where guys just get too comfortable.
Yep.
With where they are and what they've
been doing, they're training with it. And I see it with some college guys too, where like they'll come in and I'm like, all right, so like, what are we doing? And it's like, all right, that jump from high school to college, it's a jump.
Mm-hmm.
There's a big difference. And I remember going through it with me. Like, I remember sitting down one day and going, holy shit. Like, I used to do baseball all the time because I wanted to.
Right.
Now I'm doing baseball all the time because I still wanted to, but if I didn't want to, I didn't have a choice anymore though. And like, there's that big difference. And so I had I had like one college guy come back and we did something like a little bit challenging. Dude never came back.
Yeah.
Like dude came out 2 sessions and was like, all right, like I'm not coming back. He's seeing his girlfriend was more important. And one of those dudes, he's on a bubble for a not well-known school. And I'm like, you're not even playing at that school right now.
Right.
And yet you're the one coming in the least. Like, I have this guy over here that's going to be a starter in one of the top conferences in the country as a freshman, and he's here 3-4 times a day wanting to get better.
Right.
And you're not even wanting to try and crack your lineup at your not well-known school. Like, what are we doing?
Well, it's just like what you said is there's got, kind of what I said is like there's too many people who get very comfortable with where they already are currently, and they just think that that's kind of always going to be where they will always kind of stand. Like if you're the best player on your 14U team, and then you turn into the best player on the 15U team, and then guys just kind of get comfortable with the idea of like, oh, well, I'm the best player on this team, or I'm the best player on that team, and the best player on the team I played on. I understand why you got get comfortable in thinking that, because I'm like, if you're always considered the best player and you get a coach who's gonna, always tell you like, oh, you're so great, you're so awesome, like, why would I need to be trying that much harder to, improve myself if I'm already in the place where I'm like, okay, well, I'm already awesome because coach tells me I'm awesome.
Yep.
So
I have one thing to read real quick.
go for it.
So this is a player that he was a sophomore winter is when we first started working with each other, and he was not good.
Right.
Like there were a lot of missing parts that he had going on, but he had, like, I could see that he had drive. Like he wanted it. And so I laid out the roadmap of like, all right, like this is what's going to take. He ended up getting cut last year as a sophomore. Right. And it sucked for him. But with that, he came in and I saw him not during the spring. He ended up taking a break, having to try and figure out like what he really wanted to do. But when he came back after that break, dude worked and worked hard. And so he actually sent me this text. He said, the head coach at my high school had me stay late after practice yesterday. I don't want to say that's a guarantee, but he told me that with how much that I've improved and how much work I've been able to put in, I definitely have a spot on JV, and he thinks I could be a bubble possible varsity guy at the beginning of the spring. Mm-hmm. And for me, that was, and this is a very, very good high school, to have a player where he was last year to where he is at now, and the amount of work that he's put in, it's been like, hey, I'm going to be here. If you want to show up, like show up.
Right.
And he's been the most consistent guy to show up, and to like see and obviously we haven't had tryouts, like a lot can possibly change and stuff, but it's like, that's why we do this. Like I have 5 guys that haven't, heard me, what I'm saying, but I had this one guy that did, and this one guy's worth, everybody else to just keep going and keep going. Hey, one kid's worth it. One kid is worth going through all this shit of trying to, get these kids to figure it out. If it happens to one, that's all that matters to me.
I think the easiest way and the easiest takeaway for guys listening and, athletes listening, a little bit of parents, is just never ever assume that you're the best.
Oh,
that's the easiest trap that you can find yourself in, is if you just kind of think to yourself like, okay, well, I've done this, so therefore it's always going to be the case. You can be the best player on your team, but never assume you're the best player in your neighborhood, or you're the best player in your state, right? Or in your hometown, or in the nation, right? You've always got to guys need to constantly be working to constantly improve themselves and to constantly prove that they are the best, right? There's always flaws in everybody's game, even the best of the best always know there's flaws in their game. They're always working to fix them, right? But if you fall into this trap that here I'm at this juncture in my career, I was the best team on my freshman team, I was the best kid on the sophomore team, best kid on the JV team, and like you can be all those 3 of those, and then you become a bench player on the varsity because kids pass you up because those are the kids that have that drive, right? I forget what I forget there's like a saying, but it's like always work to be improving that. All right, I'm not even gonna quote a saying, I don't even remember, but it's that, always remember that you're easily replaceable.
Yeah,
until you're the kid who.
We got 7 billion people on this earth.
He's like, yeah, you're easily there. There's 7 billion people that can all potentially be better at baseball than you. But it's like, until you are the guy who's signing 10-year, $300 million contracts, right? Always know that you are replaceable.
And it's a scope thing, right? It's all right because at first it's I want to be the best player on my team.
Right.
Once you're able to be able to capture that, then it's like, all right, I want to be the best player in my region. Then it's I want to be the best player in my state. Then so I want to be the best player in the regions of states. Then it's I want to be the best. Like you have to understand that there's levels, and just because you move up one level doesn't mean that there isn't another level to reach. And I mean, how many times have you seen it where a kid is just, you know, going to be an All-American as a 7th, 8th grader freshman, and then they're not even playing by their senior year.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, oh, well, I was 6'1", 6'2" as a 8th grader hitting bombs. I didn't know how I was hitting bombs. I didn't know why I was hitting bombs. Oh, everyone else is now the same size as me, and they had to learn how to be able to produce the numbers where I just happen to produce the numbers. Like that is such a big difference. And sometimes kids are good enough to, you know, still make that next step and then learn, and others just aren't. And it's unfortunate, and it's what we try and prevent.
You know what I'm doing right now as we're speaking is I'm looking at the CHSAA site, and this will go into what we're talking about, and never underestimate and always. I was like, don't never always. I don't know how I say this. Never overestimate how good you actually are, right? And don't underestimate how good everybody else is.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at the people that were drafted out of Colorado in basically my time frame. So like when I got into high school was 2008 and I graduated in 2012. And so then I would know kids that were drafted in the 2015 class ish. Right. And I'm looking at some of these names. I'm just like, oh, I knew that kid. I knew I was better than that kid.
Nope.
Or like I know that kid. I'm like, that kid was not that good, but these are the kids that got drafted. Right. And I look at me, I went to
we could go through the whole 2015 draft class, and
right.
I know who.
But it's just like,
but they were drafted.
Yeah, but just like always remember, I'm like, there are kids in somebody's eye who believes that they are better than you, right? You know, whether that's your high school coach, whether that is a college coach, whether that's a pro scout, but you've got to work to alleviate all doubt that you are not the best, or that you are the best player in the state. You are because that's one of the things you always got to work on. Is it's cool that you can be the best player in your high school team, but do you want to be the best player in your league? Do you want to be the best player in your division, like your class division? Do you want to be the best player in the state? Do you want to be the best player in the nation? Like, there's always room to be growing, and there's always room. But it's interesting to me how some kids will get, and I don't blame the kids because I think there's a little bit of a parenting issue in there as well, and a little bit of a coaching issue.
Oh yeah,
where it's something we try to do all the time. Is like, just realize you are not as good as you think you are. Right. There are.
And you're never as bad as you think you are either.
Yeah. It's like, exactly. You're not as bad as you think you are, but you're not as good as you think you are as well. And you always need to keep constantly, what's that surface, what's that next level? What's that glass ceiling that's going to put me over the top? And it's like, that's what I want to do. It's what we do here is I want to make you better than everybody else in the state. I want to make you better than everybody else in the country. But like I said, like we're going back to earlier, here's the yellow brick road to get you there. Now you've got to go walk it. You've got to go do it. You've got to go hold yourself to an account that nobody else will, or everybody else is too lazy or too afraid to do, because it's not the cool thing to do.
Yep.
Right. It's one thing to, stay up till 2 a.m. playing Warzone, or, not, and then waking up 30 minutes before you got to go to school. You don't shower. You don't make sure you eat a good breakfast. You don't, it's one of those things like you can take 2 hours out of your week and you can plan out all your meals for the week. All right. 2 hours to give you every meal, like breakfast, lunch, dinner, some snacks in between, to make sure you're hitting your weight goal. All you need to come to here is, if you need to strength train, 3 hours out of your week.
Yep.
All right. Come here for your skill development, 3 to 4 hours out of your week. When
we're not even at 10 hours right now.
No, exactly. And so when you think to yourself, like, all the things that can really put me over the top to become a better baseball player, it's not that much time, but guys either don't know what they're doing. They don't. And then if they don't know, they don't ask the questions on how to do that. Yep. But then when they do know the answers, is, do you take it upon yourself to execute on those answers?
Not wrong, baby.
No, I can't tell guys enough. Like, this shit is super easy. You just have to go do it.
Yep.
right? Like I look back on what I did growing up, and I look back like, you know, all these things I could have done better, you know. And I get it. It's like my generation was like kind of the last generation of the guys who just kind of didn't know shit. We're just kind of go based on what our coaches tell us because there just wasn't that wealth of information there is now.
No,
Like-
I think Blast Motion became public in like 2012.
Right.
HitTrax wasn't like a well like used thing. I don't even know when Rapsodo was a pitching unit at first. Like I don't even know when that came out. Like, I mean, beyond just like cameras.
Like I can like you and I can kind of claim ignorance a little bit. I'm like, because there was a shit which just wasn't publicly available.
Yeah.
Like PBR wasn't a thing. Like Perfect Game was a thing, but
not like
not
how
to the level it is today.
No, not even close. Like now they have podcasts and shows, and Perfect Game has a podcast like Curveballs and Coffee where they talk about guys and shit like. And I mean, like Twitter wasn't like. I mean, at least from what I can recall, Twitter wasn't like a baseball Twitter place. Like
So I'm
Instagram.
looking at the Rapsodo site. Rapsodo was started in 2010.
Yeah.
So like by the time when I was a sophomore into my junior year, that's when Rapsodo was just invented.
Yeah.
You know, like and like at what point did it go mainstream?
Like, the best piece of technology I can remember is beyond like radar guns.
Which were never available to us.
Yeah,
like always,
because they
like
were stalker $100 or $1,000 pitching.
The stalkers were not in that kind of like that more consumer friendly version as they are today. You know, no one had like the Stalker 2. Like it was the big stalkers, and like the only people that had those were scouts,
like big name scouts.
Big name scouts were the only people that had that, right? And then no one would ever, for me at least in our generation, like no one told us like how hard we were throwing.
No,
we only just like, you know, you maybe got one time someone told you, I'm like, oh, you threw 85 today, and then I just like, okay, I threw 85.
Yeah,
right. but like, it's one. So here's a story.
Oh,
it's one of the most embarrassing moments of my life.
Oh no,
I still look on. You and I know about this, the sophomore showcase.
Oh yeah,
the Jayhawk sophomore showcase.
Dude, don't do this.
So, I remember I participated in it. I mean, I wasn't in the game, but we did. It was the showcase thing, right? And this is where I get mad at my coaches, like Brummett and CA, for just this lack of knowledge and this lack of like, just do this, do that. You know, like where like take control of your own career. I remember I was like 84 to 85 or whatever, and I don't know, I was just in a bad spell. Dude, I go to the sophomore showcase. I swear to God, it was like the best bullpen I'd ever throw. I was spotting up, I was dicing and all that. 2 days later, Brumma calls me into his office, and he was like, hey, we need to fix something. I'm like, what's up? He's like, you topped out at 79. I was like, what? You're right. But it's like that imperative. I'm like, I would never have known that.
Nope.
And like, thankfully, Brummett came and told me. But I'm like, okay, well, Brummett, what are we gonna do to get my velocity back up? And he just goes, well, a long toss some more or what. I'm just like, Jesus,
towel drills.
Yeah, just like Jesus fucking Christ. But that's the stories, and like where we tell you, like we talked about last week, like be your own coach. But
this is why
exactly. Like, but we don't. But now these kids have all this access to all of this information. You can go see what we put you on the track, man. I can show you how hard you throw. I can show you what your ball movement does. I can show you where you hit spots. I can show you all your weak points. Like all this information's there for you to do it. Now you got to just go execute on it. And that's where we have this failure in these kids. A lot of these kids is like they know the information, but then they just don't execute on it. They just kind of assume that, all right, well, I'll just go to Connor and he's going to fix it for me. All right. Or I'm going to come to Cole and he's going to fix it for me. He's going to magically make my fastball faster and move better.
Yeah.
He's going to magically fix my mechanics. He's going to magically fix my swing. Right. But that's just not how this works. You know, I could hold your hand all day, every day, but that's just not, I'm not a babysitter.
Yeah.
I am put you on the right path to become the best baseball player you can be, but you've got to go do this extra shit. Like, you know, there's so many kids who go like, oh, could you give me a strength program? Like, I'm not a strength coach. I'm a pitching coach. You know, you want to go talk to a strength coach? Go talk to our strength coaches. But they're not. But then everybody goes like, oh, well, that's an extra cost. I'm like, well, do you want to be this? Do you want to be this best baseball player you can be, or are you just kind of full of shit?
Well, then it's also like, all right, yeah, that costs extra because you're gonna have somebody that's doing it for you.
Right.
Go do it on your own.
Well,
Go onto YouTube,
but
go onto TikTok, go onto Twitter.
that's one of those things that's so fascinating to me is how many it's the this thing costs. I'm like, oh, I can't justify that. But then this thing is like, oh, sign me up right now.
Yep.
Right. But it's like, you could pay $400 for the skill development, and then you go pay whatever Joel, JC, and Trevor and all our strength coaches cost. Oh, that's just too much. It's like, but then you go play a fall ball season that's like $10,000 for the fall for what 8 weeks.
Yeah,
and they go like, absolutely, no question.
And it doesn't just stop there. Like, I mean, I talk about it all the time with the PBR stuff, with me doing this hit tracks. Like, the hit tracks league that we do, if you're in house, it's like 165 is what we did for this past one, and if you're not, it was 215.
Right.
And it's 6 weeks.
Yeah.
2 games a Sunday. You get hit tracks, you get blast motion, you get 2 different camera angles. And it's all live streamed. Like, I'm not putting it behind a paywall. Like, PBR behind a paywall, 300 a showcase, and like the same kids that will complain about, oh, well, that's too much or that's too. I go on, and when I'm doing my PBR, searching up, they've gone to 4 of them in the last 3 months, 4 months, and it's like that's over $1,000 right there that you've essentially just said, hey, come look at my shit.
Yeah, and come look at the shit I don't have.
Look at my good shit. I mean, like, look at this pile of shit that I have, and this is what I'm trying to pay to get people to come look at.
Right.
Like, that's not how it works, and it's so frustrating to me because it's like we're trying to put you on that right path. We're trying to put you on that yellow brick road, but you have to allow us. Like, you have to, like, and I'm not even saying to just blindly trust us. I'm saying understand what position you're in a non-biased situation. Again, talking about you're not as good as you think you are. You're not as bad as you think you are. You're somewhere in between that. Some kids are closer to, yeah, you are actually pretty bad. Right. Some kids are closer to, yeah, you're actually pretty good.
Right.
But until you just start doing what you need to get done, until you start like actually walking yourself, like, I mean, I don't know. I work with over 30 athletes. I don't know how many you got.
Yeah, roughly about that.
And it's like, I don't have the time or ability to do it for all of you. I didn't have the time or ability to do it for myself when I was in your shoes, which is why I'm sitting here saying you need to make up the time because you don't want to be in my position here. And like, I joke with all the kids. I'm like, yeah, I'm supposed to be making my debut this year. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm like, well, I'm 26. That's right around the time, guys that get drafted out of college kind of make their MLB debut. Yet I'm here coaching you. Do you think this is
like I should be my 3rd year in the league? I should be my 3rd or 4th year in the league.
Like when I was your age, I did not think I was going to be instructing you. And It's not that I don't want to be instructing you, is that I would rather be playing. I couldn't figure my shit out in time. And it wasn't until I started instructing that I learned how to go about what I should have done. And now I'm here telling you what it's going to take. And you're telling me that I'm wrong by your actions, not by your words, but by your actions. You're saying, I don't know what I'm talking about.
Right.
And it's just so frustrating. And I know, I mean, how many parents are in the same situation? Like I was talking to a parent the other day about this one kid's missed a couple of workouts because he's been hanging out with his girlfriend. Kid's a freshman in fucking high school. And I'm like, bro, first off,
it's like, well, we talked about that earlier where what are your priorities? Like I had that kid this summer and then like he would like miss a point or session and he's like, oh, I had it like my girlfriend wanted me to do. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, dude, you're a junior in high school. You don't need to be worrying about girls right now. No. You need to like there are like what was I said? There are like, not even 7. There are 8 billion people in the world now. And it's like 50-50 men versus women. So you're telling me there's 4 billion girls around the world, and this is the one that's gonna like your junior year of high school is the one you're gonna be the most obsessed with. That's gonna dictate your life.
Haven't traveled outside of Aurora or Centennial, but hey, that's the soulmate.
Oh my god,
that's the soulmate, dog.
I know. Let's look at like I've been on like I've been on the dating apps here in Denver. I'm like, Denver's fine. And then we went to Nashville. I'm like, oh whoa, this is this is the whole. Like, remember,
Yeah.
like, everywhere you go, you're gonna find
Well, it's
that
like,
you're gonna find that special someone somewhere at some point. But your junior year of high school, if you're already kind of settling for that, I'm like, oh boy, your life's not gonna be a lot of fun.
well, and my like
And
bringing
not to say for the people who have had very fruitful and wonderful lives with their high school sweethearts. Don't get me wrong, but you guys are very much the outliers.
and I think they would understand that. I think they get that too. And it's like I was talking with his dad, and he's like, "Yeah, blah blah blah. Like, I don't know, she doesn't even treat him well, this or whatever." I'm like, it's one of those situations where they have to just go through that. Like, how many times has a parent said, "Hey, don't do this because of blank,"
Right.
and the kid turns around and does it and goes, "Oh, well, blank did happen," and it's like, well, yeah, no shit, but like they just sometimes have to go through
that's
that.
one of those, like, when as you grow up, you're like, God damn it, mom and dad are right.
Yep. And it's like, shit, if I just would have listened, and that's why I kind of feel like right now, I have no kids. I got Strider.
Oh, Strider.
And that's like,
But you can't tell Strider what to do though.
No, he's on his own
He's
path.
his own guy.
But it's just like, damn, like homeboy's just gonna have to go through that pain and understand that like baseball or just the activities that you like doing are always going to be there for you. You don't like it. I'll just say it. If you're a really good ball player, there's going to be a lady out there for you.
Oh yeah.
Like,
oh yeah.
There is something that we call cleat chasers. And they are really fond of guys wearing tight pants and cleats and running out onto a dirty diamond.
Yeah, it's like you get really good at baseball, you're gonna be fine. Like it's been saying, like you get really good at anything, you'll be fine.
I was thinking about this the other day. I wanted to actually like more data. I was trying to figure out. Like,
I mean, fuck, look at Derek Jeter. He wasn't even that good, and look at all the girls he dated.
Oh, don't even give me that. Jeter's a GOAT. Are you kidding me? On and off the field. But like I was thinking, I was like, what's the percentage of athletes that are playing professionally that are like booed up? And I feel like, there's a difference between booed up and like married. Like, I feel like a good amount of them might be booed up, but I doubt a good amount of them are married before they're like 25, 26, 27.
I know. I feel like there are a lot of guys who get married very early. Like they're like
Professional wise?
Oh yeah. Like I feel like, and this is obviously speculation. This is not related to what we want to talk about anyway. But like, I always feel like I'll follow somebody on social media, like a guy that just got drafted out of college. It feels to me, at least, that there are a lot of guys who get drafted in the pros now that met a girl in college, and then that's the one they married. That's what I've always noticed. So like, obviously, it's a small sample
But let's
size.
say they're getting drafted out of college, so they're what, at minimal 21, because you can't get drafted until you're 21 unless it's out of JUCO.
It's yeah, you gotta get drafted. Well, get drafted out of JUCO, but
I mean, like, so what? They're 23, 24, 25 probably when they end up like actually getting married, and like we're talking about kids that are 14 to 17. They're like, oh,
this is the girl I'm going to be with the rest of my life.
Gosh. And like I was in that same spot. Like I remember getting a promise ring and shit like that. Like when I was in high school, like dated a girl for like a year and a half. Like I've been there. I know. Like I understand what they're saying,
Right.
But it's one of those where it's like you just got to bite your tongue as the instructor sometimes and just like let them go through it. And it sucks because like
I'm kind of at the point. I'm like, I don't want to bite my tongue anymore. This is too. Just be like, dude, you're not going to be with her forever. I'm just going to let you know now.
Well, it's not even just solely on that, but it's also on like why lifting is important, why getting good sleep is important, why, eating, right is important. Like, I mean, I'll be the first one to say like, you got to eat right, baby. And if you don't, you're going to be an instructor like where I'm at right now, i.e. why my diet, not the greatest, but like, that's because I'm not wanting to be a professional ball player anymore.
Right. Exactly. I think Jason had put it best. Someone's like, our careers are over. Now we're focused on putting you guys in the best position to have your careers extended. Right. No, it's one like, I don't like, you don't have to take me crazy seriously, but like take me a little bit seriously.
But like understand I'm not just bullshitting you.
Right. I'm very, I'm very bad at bullshitting. You can talk to Jason and Connor and all. Yep. I'm not very good at that shit. But this is one like we're not here to lie to you. We're here to put you in a position to be the best you can be. And now, if you listen to us and take yourself a little more seriously, then cool things will happen. And
Yep.
then you can go look back and like, oh, look at Connor and Cole. They're 100% absolutely right. And I'm like, well, yeah, we know you are.
Well, and this is the last thing I'll bring up. Like, I got one athlete right now that is learning and understanding that sometimes not everyone has the best intentions for your career.
Mm-hmm.
And he's sitting here, he's like, yeah, I was supposed to be on a phone call with these guys. I was supposed to talk to these guys, or this guy said he would help me, and now they're not, and blah blah blah. And it's one of those where for me it's like, well, I'm still here. Like,
right.
Please understand that, yeah, it's a lot of people are like that, but that's like not me. That's not you. That's not Jason. That's not Joel. That's not JC. That's not Trevor. That's outside of here sometimes. And like, don't take because other people are screening you. Like, I've been with you for like, a year, 2 years, and we've been here, early in the morning. We've been here late at night. Like, I've been doing what you have asked me and more than what you have asked, because I value what you're doing, and I think that you have the opportunity. And that was kind of like a moment for him, I think, where he was like, oh shit, you have been here. It's like, yeah, like, we're here to do this shit. Like, I am in your corner. And I don't think all the players understand that sometimes until it's too late.
All right, closing out this week's episode, we're going to continue our everyone's favorite game, the Guess the Random Baseball Player on Baseball Reference.
Hey-o.
So, Connor, you've got your player.
Yep.
Hit me with it.
Questions?
So we're doing 20 questions, all right? So
Yep.
we're assuming that, so Connor's doing pitchers. He's going to ask me about pitchers, and I'm going to ask him about hitters. So,
alrighty, and boom. All
right, so it's pitcher.
Yep.
How many years did he play?
Let's see here. He played.
What years did he play? Sorry.
07 through 16.
07 through 16. What awards did he win?
He won. Let's see here. That's draft. Let's see here. 2 Cy Youngs, 4 All-Stars, and 3 World Series.
So 2 Cy Young. Oh, Tim Lincecum.
God damn it. Yeah. Hold on.
I'm too good. I'm too good at this. Or you're just giving me too easy answers.
Probably.
All right. Let me find a good hitter. Ooh, okay. This will be a good
Type
one.
fuck Cole in the comments because that was too damn quick.
I was just saying, like, the 2 Cy Youngs kind of gave it away. I'm like, that's a good time frame. And all right, let me.
I know my next one is going to fuck you up.
No. Oh, this will be fun. Okay. Let's go for it.
Let's do it. What years?
He played from 1992 to 2003.
Okay. Lefty or righty hitter?
He was a right-handed hitter. Oh, shit, no, never mind. He's a pitcher, my bad. I can't do this. I was going to do Pat Mahomes Sr.
I would not, no shot.
That would have
0%.
That would have been fun.
0%.
That would have been hilarious. All right, let's go. Oh man, this bad radio.
Do 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 do. Interesting facts about Tim Lincecum. He was drafted by the Chicago Cubs in the 48th round in 2003 out of high school, and then the Cleveland Indians selected him in the 42nd round of the 2005 draft, and then he was drafted in the first round by the San Francisco Giants in 2006.
Okay. All right, now I got it.
Okay. What years?
He played from 2006 to 2019.
Alrighty, lefty or righty?
He was a right-handed hitter.
Let's go. What awards?
He was an MVP, a Rookie of the Year, 4-time All-Star, 4-time Gold Glove winner, a Silver Slugger winner, and a Wilson overall Defensive Player of the Year.
Alrighty. How many different teams did he play on?
He played on one team.
Oh. Is it David Wright?
No, it is not David Wright.
Fuck. Okay. Not David Wright.
Gotta put that in.
Okay. Let's see here. AL or NL?
AL.
Let's see here. What jersey number?
15 was his primary number, but he entered the league at 64. When he was a September call-up, his jersey number was 64, but 15 was his primary number.
Okay. Let's go number 15. Alrighty. So 2006, 2019. Right-handed hitter that wore number 15. What position?
Second base.
Dustin Pedroia.
Yep.
That was a good one.
That was a good one. All right. So that was a fun one. Let us know in the comments if you guys got it earlier.
The
Before
Silver Slugger fucked me up.
I know. I didn't know he won that.
Yeah, and it fucked me up, but it also is what helped because I was like, wait.
I knew position, and if you'd asked what team he played for, I knew that's what was going to be the giveaway.
I'm gonna try and not ask what team. That's going to be like my goal of like.
Well, but if it's a player that's played on
like multiple teams,
yeah.
But if it's
if it's a guy who's played on one team his entire career,
yeah, I'm gonna try and not ask what team he was on.
Just like if I went like who was it? Like Helton. You know, just go like, oh, well, this guy won. Like, what did he win?
Like probably like 4 or 5.
It's like, what years did he play? 97 to 2013. And you go like, what awards? He was a 5-time All-Star, 3-time Gold. That's a stunning number. That he's only a 3-time Gold Glover.
Yeah.
4-time Silver Slugger and won a batting title.
Shout out Todd, bro.
Shout out Todd.
Neighbors
should be in the Hall of Fame right now, but
next year.
So, yeah, if you guys got those answers before Connor and I did, let us know in the comments.
Before Cole, you're fucking lying. Shut up. Shut up. No shot.
So, all right, Connor, do you have anything to plug?
Tune in on Sundays. Hitchhacks League on Twitch, on Twitch, YouTube, or Facebook. Fast_RBI.
They are a lot of fun. I will vouch for that.
It's been pretty cool. Like I said, I'm doing live commentating as well. So stop by, check in. We've had so far 2 sophomores. One hit 99 this past Sunday. One hit like 98. Right now I think we're averaging 1 to 3 home runs a game.
Nice.
So like it's exciting. It's hype. We had a walk-off win this past Sunday. We had a game go to a home run derby. We've had another game that was like a 1-run ball game in the bottom of the 7th, and we had a 9-run comeback.
Oh, really?
Yeah. A team was losing 8-0 going into like the 5th or 6th, and then ended up scoring 9 and held out. They knocked off an undefeated team, so that was pretty cool. It's some good games, man. It's pretty fun. It's lively. What about you?
We're just finishing up the off season. Stay glued to social media, see how guys are progressing.
Where can people find you on social?
You can find me at cthomas624 on Twitter, Cole Thomas Fast on Instagram. You can follow Fast. Where can they follow? Did you already do your follow?
Fast on Score.
I was looking at Baseball Reference and looking at future people we could do, but no one you would know. But I just love some of these names. So I was like, who's this guy? It's played from 1882 to 1887, and you go, I just love to see you trying to guess like Jumbo McGinnis. Sorry,
fucking Jumbo.
They're like, yeah, there's another guy. His name was Fats Jenkins, who played from 1924 to 1940. I was like, that would be fun to try to get you to figure out who Fats Jenkins was.
Bro.
So
what a name.
I know. You can follow. So you can go follow Fast Baseball at Fast Baseball on TikTok and on Instagram. You can follow Fast Performance at Fast Performance CO on Instagram, and you can sign up for the newsletter. You can still buy some merch. We got some new stuff coming in. If you got any comments, questions, concerns, leave it down in the comments down below. Please subscribe and like this video and share it with all your buddies. And we will see you next Tuesday.